there. Audio's good. Is everything good, everybody? It's been so long since I've done a live stream. I just got to make sure everything is good and good to go. Dominique Leons, I'm doing good. Bill Coco, hello from Long Island. What is up? Bryson, any tips to rank up faster? I got a video on that. I think I have a couple videos on that. Big thing for the early ranks. If you're talking about going, you want to go E1 to E4 as fast as possible. The fastest and easiest way to do that is win boards and win like best warrior competitions and things like that. So if you can get like soldier of the quarter, soldier of the year, soldier of whatever, that is going to be how you get promoted fast, and or get schools easily. So, but yeah, I got more videos on that. Nice shirt, thank you. I got this somewhere. It might have been at Fort Benning or Fort Jackson. I can't remember where I got it. Gosh, it feels like so long since I've done a live stream. So long. My son just went 35 Sierra. Nice. Matt, is 25 Bravo good for you to do to get certs? I actually just made a video on that talking about did my MOS help me on the civilian side. You should probably check that out. But essentially, if you're going 25 Bravo, if you want to get certifications, you're going to have that opportunity, but it's going to be on you because certifications, they're not going to be easy. They're not going to be handed out to you. You're going to actually have to study on your own time to get that done. So yeah, so like you can do that. 25 Bravo is the best for computer certs as far as Army MOSs. If you go the 17 series, which is cyber, then that's going to be a little bit different type stuff. But as far as overall computer certifications, you're going to have the most opportunities as a 25 Bravo. But anyways, gosh, I feel so rusty. I'm great, Destiny Ellis. Hey Matt, can you tell us your opinion on 25 Quebec? I haven't really had too much experience with 25 Quebecs. The only real experience I've had is just in Bullock, my officer course that I just graduated from earlier this year. They told us a little bit about all the different 25 series MOSs, but there's like 20 of them, so it's really hard for me to really kind of differentiate between all of them, because the 25 series, all the signal MOSs, they generally like do everybody else's job. It's like if you're a signal guy, then you're going to do all of the signal stuff if there's not any other signal people there. So, but I'm not even sure off the top of my head. I can't remember what 25 Quebec is. What other jobs would I have done in the Army? I think maybe 25 uniform is a different 25 series job I would have taken. 17 series, the cyber wasn't out yet. If it was, then I would have done that. I'm either a very technical computer guy or I want to do all the super hua stuff, which I've talked about that in the past. What to expect for cardiologist consult at MEPS at the hotel right now? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I mean, basically at MEPS, as long as you don't have anything physically wrong with you that you already know of, that your recruiters know about, then you're going to be fine. As far as doing the movements and things like that, if you can do the duck walk and stuff, I think most people are going to be fine doing that. But anyways, would you still join if your family didn't support you? My family didn't really support me joining the military, so yes. They came around after the fact. I was the first person to do it, but it was like my parents, I've talked about this a bunch, my parents were just like, why are you doing this? I think my brothers and all of them they're all more supportive, but as far as my parents go, they didn't necessarily want me to join. Is Marines a cult? No, it's not. But the Marines are definitely different, their own special individuals as far as compared to different branches, I would say. Why did I want to join the military? I've always wanted to join. made videos on it. I've always wanted to be involved in the military in some way, shape, or form. And then, yeah, pros and cons of Fort Jackson. So one of the cons is you'll always get told that you went to relaxing Jackson. And it really just depends on your drill sergeants. If you get relaxed drill sergeants, then it's going to be relaxing. If you get strict drill sergeants, then you're going to have strict drill sergeants. But I don't know if there's really any pros and cons. I'd say a lot of the pros would be better weather than going to different places, like going to Fort Benning over the summer is going to be hotter than going to Fort Jackson over the summer. Going to Fort Leonard Wood over the winter is going to be worse than going to Fort Jackson over the winter. So I think it's really just weather related. And then like for myself, I wasn't infantry, but I went to Fort Benning, so that's kind of like a little plus for me in the good side category. But if you go to Fort Jackson, it doesn't really matter. Any experience with combat photographers? No, I have never seen any at all. That would be a very like select few job kind of thing. What are the best resources to score high on the ASVAB? Caesar, as far as I know, I didn't, like I've talked about this, if you've watched my ASVAB video, I didn't study for the ASVAB, so this is a difficult question for me to answer. But from what I understand, like taking online practice ASVAB courses and doing just getting the ASVAB for dummies kind of thing, and just understanding what you're bad at. If you know you're bad at math, then focus on the math portion. Like you're not going to do anything super complicated. If you can, if you're really confident in like algebra and things like that, then you're gonna be fine. If you're good with some basic trigonometry, you're gonna be fine. So if you can tackle that stuff, and then as far as English, reading comprehension, things like that, I suck at English and reading comprehension, but yeah, so know what you're bad at, and then get like a book to study, and then study what you suck at. If you take the ASVAB and if you don't get what you want, you're going to see all the different categories that you need to improve on, that you want to do better in. You'll get to see the category that you need to maybe do better at to get your MOS that you want, and you can focus in on that specific job. Do I have any advice for a 13-year-old girl who wants to join the Army? Yeah, I've made a video on if you're young and you want to join. Essentially my advice, this is literally my advice to you. Being 13 years old, which is really young, you've got 4 years at the earliest in which you could join. So, number one tip, don't get overweight and fat and things like that and be 17 years old and then having to lose like 50 pounds by the time you're 18 to join. Number one, that's number one. Number two is don't get in trouble with the law. Don't do anything stupid where you're going to be, potentially sent to juvie or something like that. So don't do anything stupid, and then don't get fat, and then just chill. Be fine. You're going to be good. You got 4 years to really think about if you are actually going to want to join the military whenever you're 17 years old, if you want to get your parents' permission to be that young and join. But that's it. Don't stress about it. You're super duper young. Would not worry in the slightest. Just if you're really serious about it, if our JROTC is at your high school, I would recommend doing that for sure. But other than that, just chill. You're really young. You got several years. You got what would that be, like a fourth of your life more to go. How hard is it for a high schooler to go through the Army? I don't think it's very difficult, and I don't know what you mean by go through the Army. If you're talking about just going through basic training, it's not bad. I really, really don't think, no matter what age you're at, if you are young joining and going to basic training, if you're middle of the road, kind of like how I was, as far as age-wise going to basic training, or if you're old going to basic training, there's pros and cons of all of those. If you're young, you might not know as much as that 32-year-old who's at basic, and y'all can kind of bounce back and forth and use each other's strengths. But also that 32-year-old may not have just as much energy as you as an 18-year-old. So, or even a 17-year-old if you're wanting to do like split ups and then go back to high school, which is what my little brother did. I wonder if you're good enough to join the 75th Rangers Regiment or 2nd Battalion. Do you think so? Dent Toost. You left a whole bunch of those messages, but if you want to know what I think the answer is yes. I think I would make it as long as I don't get hurt, because I think with Rangers and the selection and RAS and all that stuff, number one, you just don't want to quit, and then number two, you don't want to get hurt. And I feel like if you are really adamant, you're physically capable, you're mentally capable, which I think I'm both physically and mentally capable of passing and getting selected, as long as I don't get hurt, which gets a lot of people, and I don't think I would quit, then yes, I think I would make it. Thanks for your service. It's actually Pheno14. Thank you. Seth, what's up? Do you think it's a good idea to do the split option program for the National Guard? Yes, I do think it is a great idea to do that. I mean, I don't think that's very funny. Anders Lind, yo, what is up? And what is up, Young Willow with the $1 super chat? What's going on? I have a new memory on my watch. Rangers is the only school you can get peer eval out. Yeah, so peer evaluations, I don't know what you mean by Rangers. If you're talking about RAS or Ranger School, I know that they'll do it at Ranger School. I'm not sure if you're talking about RAS or Ranger School, but yes. So, like for example, at Ranger School, if anybody's curious or wanting to go to Ranger School, not RAS. What I'm talking about here is Ranger School. Is peer evaluations is something that can have a big impact when you make it through Ranger School. They have the same thing with Bullock. So not at Bullock, at Advanced Camp, which is the last training that you have to go through as a cadet in ROTC. And it's the same thing for Ranger School. And every so often, at the end of each phase or whatever, your peers, your people in your platoon, the people in your squad more specifically, are going to evaluate all of your peers. They're going to rate all of your peers on all the different core competencies, all the different Army values, and all that stuff. They're going to rate each other, and then they're going to rank all of their peers. If they have 10 people that they're rating, you're going to say, this person is the best, they're number 1. This person is the worst, they're number 10. And if you have a bunch of people vote you as the worst, as somebody with a bad attitude or whatever, doesn't work well with others, everybody kind of rates you as that 10th guy, and that happens, then you can fail, you can flunk out, you cannot pass because of that. So you can't just be like the smartest, best, most athletic person. You have to actually be a good, likable person who can work well with others. And you actually have to know that because, there was a guy that was with me and everybody always voted him the worst. And he's like, I don't understand why people's doing that. Well, it's because you kind of treat people like a dirtbag when you're in charge, and whenever you're not in charge, then you kind of just slack all the time. So, and if you're that kind of person, then you get in trouble. And so in ROTC and Advanced Camp, that is a way that you could not become an officer, or at least have to go back to the training the next year. Anyways. Why hasn't there been a 5-star general in 50 years? Because we haven't had the need for one. We have to be in like a full-blown war, I guess. I'm not sure what the... I'm pretty sure we have to be at war to have a 5-star general, but just because we're at war, we don't need a 5-star general. I'm not sure what all the reasons and stuff behind that. I guess it would be if the president needs another guy to take his place because we're in a crisis time and we need somebody in charge of the entire military, then that would be what we do. Do all officer candidates go through regular basic training first? Kevin, if you are talking about OCS candidates, then yes. If you do ROTC, you do not have to go to basic training. You're going to have to go to at least advanced camp, and if you don't do all 4 years of ROTC, you have to do basic camp or basic training. Because essentially the first 2 years of ROTC is what you learn in basic training. And if you do OCS, you're not doing ROTC, so that means you're going to go to basic training and then you're going to do OCS. Any advice about going for sniper for the Army? Yeah, so you need to go infantry, and you need to basically shoot 40 out of 40 every time. If you've never shot before, even if you shot a lot, so Dominique, if you have like an AR at home, so like I have right, where am I at? So like my AR right here. You want to make sure that you have iron sights for that. You don't want to be using a scope, anything like that. Don't do that. You want to go and get just like a little zeroing target or something or one of the little qualification targets. You can find them on Amazon. And you want to practice at the right distances and stuff, because it is not easy to get 40 out of 40 at the range consistently. There's a lot of things that come into play there. There's a lot of things that come into play. One of them being the range could just suck. You could just have a bad lane and it could just suck. Another thing could be wind is a big consideration when you're talking about shooting 300 meters out. Your trigger squeeze, all that stuff. So advice if you want to be a sniper is you really need to focus on that 40 out of 40, and you really need to be in shape for them to accept you, to want to for them to basically send you to sniper school. I wouldn't have made it in the Army without you, Matt. Rashad, I'm sure you would have. It's all on you. Favorite shoes? I like Jordans. They're expensive though. But these are my particular favorite shoes right here. And then those, if y'all know what kind of design I like. Yeah, Nike all the way. It was raining on my range day. Yeah, it could be raining. It could be not great weather. It could be a little windy. It could have just rained and now the range is soaking wet and you're going to have to lay in mud. You know, it could be really humid and your iPro is going to fog up. There's a lot of things. So for you to get that consistent 40 to 40 is pretty tough. Before I joined, I don't know if I've ever shot an AR before I joined. I've shot a shotgun before I joined, and I shot a pistol. I don't think I ever shot an AR before I joined. And I wasn't sure how it was going to be shooting 40 out of 40. It's definitely difficult. I generally get expert, but sometimes I'll shoot 33 to 35, that range. But generally I'll shoot expert, but it's definitely not easy to not miss. Matt liked almost every pic in your Insta. You realize you have like thousands of pics from a really long time ago, right? What? Oh, Matt, you liked almost all of my pics. Yeah, I know. I still have all my pictures on Instagram from like when I first got Instagram. I've hidden a few of them where I'm just like, those are really stupid pictures. But I mean, for the most part, that's how my Instagram has been. And I haven't really changed it. So, what's the best way to get prepared for basic training? Corey, to sum it all up for you, because I'm not going to be able to explain everything in this video, I literally have a playlist of everything that you should watch before basic training. if you do that, then I think, and you do what I say, and if you just listen to what I'm talking about, then I think you'll be very much so prepared for basic training, both mentally and physically, if you actually put in the work to get in shape. You'll know what you need to know, you'll know what you need to learn, and you'll be ready to go, and you'll have a little bit of an idea of what to expect. What are the ways to get an officer's rank, ROTC, OCS, and a military academy like West Point? That's it. You could technically do a direct commission if you're a doctor or you are a pastor. Those are really the only two ways. What's my rank? I'm a second lieutenant currently. I am technically I should be promoted by now. So I should be promoted. So I'm basically just waiting on my orders to say that I'm a first lieutenant now, which is automatic. So if you didn't know, from second lieutenant to first lieutenant is just an automatic promotion. And, you know, promotions aren't really like the day that you should get the promotion, you're going to get the promotion. It generally takes a while. So technically, I've been promotable for almost a month. So at any point, I could check my email and just see that I have orders for being promoted to first lieutenant. So no, I'm not an E7. I am an O1, almost an O2. But technically I am an O2 because it'll be backdated. But anyways. With the changes to the physical fitness test, how would you recommend preparing for it? Is it better to simply focus on the tested exercises, or should I incorporate weight training? With this one, I definitely think you should incorporate some weight training, because like for the deadlift, you're going to have to lift some weights for that. So you need to practice deadlifts, you need to practice squats, things like that. For some of the other exercises like the sprint drag pull thingy, yeah, so like you're going to have to focus on more like, what do you call it? What's the word that I'm looking for? Like, not like CrossFit type stuff, but like movement. Gosh, I can't think of the word. Functional fitness. Yeah, functional fitness. You're going to have to focus a little bit more on functional fitness type stuff. But yes, you should focus on your weightlifting aspect of things. Like, you're going to need to actually do some pull-ups, guys, if you're going to want to do good on your knee tucks. You're going to need to actually work out your abs and do abs on a pull-up bar, which you didn't need to do before. You're going to need to do some kind of weightlifting. You're going to need to focus on some explosiveness with like the ball throw over your head. And then, of course, you're going to be focusing on your 2-mile run, which you can do 30-60s or 61-20s. But yeah, so I think the biggest thing with the new PT test is previously the people that were the best at the APFT are generally shorter or skinny, right? So those are generally the two people that are just really good at the current PT test. Is you're either shorter or skinny. With the new PT test, it's going to cater, the people who are going to be the best at it are going to be both just like in shape muscularly, both cardiovascularly, and then also have like a body weight to fitness ratio. I don't think there's an actual term for that, but basically pound for pound, the person who's the best in shape or most in shape is going to be the best person at this new PT test, which I like. I just still hate the minimums for it. I just wish that there was a very broad age restriction for the new PT test. Like, not every just few years like how it is now, like every 6 years or whatever, but every like 10 or 15 years. I wish they did that. Weight, height, strength, yeah. Do you think the military will change in the next 4 years? I'm asking because I'm 14 and plan to enlist as soon as I'm 18. I think the military, I mean, it's going to change. It changes literally every year. The military just makes a little change, a little change, a little change, a little change. And over 4 years, I mean, it's going to be different. I've been in for 5 years now. Well, it's almost 5 years. I've been almost in for 5 years. And it's just been little tiny changes. It's been nothing super duper major. It's just been little changes, but over time, those kind of add up. I don't think 4 years is a huge difference, but I think 10 years is a pretty big difference. Like 10 years difference in the military is pretty big. We're implementing, or not we're, the Army is implementing a lot of like different changes, like the soldiers badge that I talked about, the new PT test, the new uniforms, the new way that we're going to promote enlisted soldiers and officers. That's going to be a big change. So they're all just going to be little changes that are going to happen every year that add up. How to join the military? Literally just call up a recruiter and set up an appointment, and they'll pre-screen you, and you'll know if you're at least eligible to join. And it's literally so easy to join. I feel like I haven't done a live stream so long, so like I can't hardly talk, it feels like. Do you have any advice on choosing a branch in the military? I'm thinking either Army or Marines. Sarah McCoy. I think really, as far as like a big distinction between the Marines and the Army, is how much emphasis and how much weight do you put, like, how much emphasis and weight do you kind of put on being like the most rugged, the most hua, the most combat? People look at Marines like they're a Marine, like they see combat, they do stuff, even though they still have desk jobs and paper pushing jobs and things like that. But how much emphasis do you put on being a Marine versus something you can do similar in the Army, but you have more chances or opportunity to get promoted? Because a big thing in the Marines is it's very small, and you're not going to get promoted nearly as fast as you are in the Army. And all the pays, wages, and everything for all the military branches are the same. So you could join the Marines and after 6 years be an E5, but I mean maybe be an E5, and then you join the Army and after 6 years you could potentially be an E6, and the pay difference is going to be a pretty good pay difference between those two. So that's the number one thing. You have more vertical and lateral movement in the Army than you do in the Marines. If you want to compare different infantries, I'd say, basically the same. It just really kind of depends on, do you want to be a Marine? If the answer is, yeah, you don't really care too much, you don't really care one about the other, I would say go Army, just because there's more opportunities in the Army, schools, all that stuff. That's just my personal opinion. But if you want to be a Marine and that means a lot to you, which it does, it means a lot to a lot of people. Like for me, for example, I wanted to be a soldier. I wanted to be in the Army. So no other branch could have offered me really anything that would have changed my mind. People ask me all the time, would I have joined another branch? The answer is no, because I wanted to be in the Army. And that meant more than whatever else the Air Force could have offered me. So those non-tangible things really do matter. If you're a Marine and you switch to the Army, you rank up twice, right? No, that's not true. Prod by AJ. If you are in the Marines and you switch, that's one good thing about being in the Marines and the Army, is if you're a Marine and you switch to the Army, you don't have to go through basic training again. If you're in the Army and you switch to Air Force or Navy, you don't have to go through basic training again. But if you're like in Air Force or Navy and you switch to the Marines or you switch to the Army, they're going to have to go through basic training again, because they don't do all the combat related stuff that you have to know in the Marines and you have to know it in the Army. All the different infantry tactics and stuff that they teach you as a baseline at basic training. They don't do that in the Navy, and they don't do that in the Air Force. Did I skip a super chat? I did. Justin Antonio Hernandez, what is up? Thank you for the $4 super chat. How much time do you get to go to the gym? if you're talking about basic training, you don't get time to go to the gym unless you're super lucky and they have some weights in your barracks, in your bay area. If you're super lucky, you're going to have some kettlebells, things like that. I mean, you have to be even more lucky to have any more than that. So you're not going to really have any gym time. But once you kind of make it to white phase, once you kind of make it to blue phase, then you might have the privilege to go downstairs to like the pull-up bars or go run on the track. But you're not going to be going into a gym and hitting up squats and bench press and heavy weights, big dumbbells, things like that. That's something that you are more than likely, I'd say 90% or more, not going to have the opportunity. You might have some kettlebells. My platoon had 0 weights. There was a different platoon in my company that had some kettlebells, but that is going to be more than likely not the case to be able to go to a gym. When they first taught us some DNC stuff, as far as like parade rest, things that I talked about in my video with my little brother Timothy about drill and ceremony, when they taught us that, we were in a gym, but we couldn't work out there. It was for the drill sergeants. The gym was for the drill sergeants. So, what is up? We got a little bit more people joining right now. Will I go active duty? Youngin, guapo? No. I've talked about that so much on this channel, and essentially active duty has nothing to offer me that I would want or could get out of it. I can do what I want to do in the military, being in the reserves as I am now. I'm tongue twisted. I got medically discharged after making it through blue phase. I'm going back in 6 months, but will be able to go back faster. I love being, but will I be able to go back faster? I love being in the military. No, if you get medically discharged at basic training, just general or discharge for anything, just the general baseline for when you can come back is 6 months. I don't know of anything that would really speed that up. How much does in reserves O2 pay? I think, well, let me look. Google Army Reserves Officer pay. Let's look. Let's look. So for a first lieutenant, you're gonna make about $7,500 a year, but that's not what I'm wanting to look at. Pay chart. An O1. You're gonna make about $110 times 4, $440. Well, that's an O1. An O2 is going to be $140 times 4, which is $560 before taxes. If you only have 2 years of time in service, for me, I'm going to have over 4 years, so I'll be $166 times 4 for each drill weekend before taxes is how much I'll get paid. Looks like we got a couple super chats here. Mighty Killer, I want to be a pilot for the Navy, but I also Army. So you will also want to be in the Army, but you want to be a pilot. You can be a pilot in the Army, so you have to decide. Do you want to be a pilot in the Army or do you want to be a pilot in the Navy? Just a couple things with that. You definitely need to be smart. Being a pilot in the military is something that a lot of people want to do, but not a lot of people get to do. So definitely want to be smart doing that. And then we got this $10 super chat over here. Galactus Gun. I have to call you sir now, and I'm proud to call you sir. Also, hashtag join the infantry. Well, thank you. And yeah, so like some people, it's definitely interesting when some people like they join. They're like, I get to call you sir now because, you know, now I'm enlisted, now I'm whatever. That's really cool. And then some people that were like my friends before whenever I was enlisted, now I'm an officer, now they have to call me sir, which is pretty cool. Like technically my brothers are both enlisted. It if we were in uniform. Should call me sir to be formally correct, but it's okay. I'm getting deployed to Iraq for my first deployment. Bing's 198. It's okay. You're knocking it out early. You're good. Just be thankful. You got all this stuff fresh in your memory. You're ready to go. You got it knocked out. You're going to Iraq, so you got a bunch of street cred and all that stuff. You're not just going to somewhere. You're not just going to Kuwait. You're going to Iraq because people, count Kuwait or South Korea. Those aren't real deployments, which South Korea I don't think actually is considered a deployment. So you're getting it out of the way, so you're good. Why are drill sergeants mean, Tracy? They aren't mean. They're just creating a high stress environment because the military, you need to be able to work and process information and make decisions under a lot of stress. And so if drill sergeants were just like teachers and they didn't really put much stress on you, then once they push you through basic training and then you get put in a combat scenario when it's literally life or death, whether it's your life or somebody else's life, you have to have at least some sort of experience dealing with stressful situations, or else you're going to totally freeze, which some people are going to freeze anyways. Obviously, I don't have any personal experience with combat scenarios, but drill sergeants, people have said like when crap hits the fan, when bullets start flying and bullets are going over your head and you hear them whizzing by, you're either going to freeze or you're going to stick to your training. And if you have actually studied, if you've actually paid attention when you're doing battle drills and things like that, if you've been put in high stress environments before, then you're a lot less likely to be one of those people who literally freeze and can't move. And that's also one of those things that you'll never really know what you're going to do. I have no clue. You don't have a clue. Like, what are you going to do when it's a life or death situation? And if, like, there's a sniper over here and you're stuck or something, like, that's some high stress stuff. Are combat medics considered advanced grunts? I've never heard of advanced grunts before, but a combat medic or any combat MOS, you have your grunts, your infantry, then you have your combat MOSs, which your combat MOSs will include your combat medics, and then you have everybody else, all the super pogues. Then you have pogues as like a combat medic, and then you have your infantry. Those are the grunts. All right. I might get off of here in just a second. My throat, for some reason, is all being weird. But before I go, is there anything that you guys want to see? I feel like this live stream is... the title's all weird, but it's okay. I might have messed things up this first live stream, but it's okay. But anything you guys want to see in the coming weeks, I got like the next 4 videos or so planned out. Anything, topics maybe I haven't covered or try to cover more in detail. Any advice on enlisted to officer? Ellie, what do you mean as far as enlisted officer? I think I got a vlog coming up for you, Ebella. But I don't really know. Being an officer, it's not really advice on going enlisted to becoming an officer. It's more like advice on just becoming an officer, which is really focused on your op words for sure. Your operation orders. Starting at E2, let's play some COD. What's your gamer tag? My Activision ID is the same as my all this stuff. WarDam89, that's my Activision ID. I may do a gaming live stream soon. If you guys want me to play some Call of Duty live, I might do that. Can I get a job? Topic split off. Push-ups, everyone watching drop for 25. Why be an officer when being enlisted is pretty awesome? Being an officer is pretty freaking awesome. You get to do what you want to do. I mean, you have your job that you're supposed to do, but like you do what you want to do in a sense. Like as long as you're getting your job done, there's a lot less people telling you what to do. How fast you rank up starting at E2? You can look that up. I think it is, so it's 6 months to E2. Then it is, what is it? A year and 18 months of time in service for E3. And then it is a year and 2 years of time in service for E4. Can I call a recruiter when I'm not 17 and will they answer my questions? Yeah, so I mean, as long as you're not like super duper young, but generally, I mean, if you're like 16 years old and you want to talk to a recruiter, you know, they'll talk to you, they'll answer your questions. They're not gonna push you to do anything or get the process started or whatever. They can't do that. They're not gonna do that. But if you just have some basic questions for a recruiter and you're 16 years old, go ahead. You know, really, even if you're 15, just let them know, hey, I'm 15, think I'm joining in 2 years or whatever. What are the advantages and disadvantages of being in the reserves? That's a good one. How do you become an officer after basic training? That would be OCS. You would have to do OCS. What's up, Andrew? So how would you say the new COD Modern Warfare compares to the original? Not the same whatsoever. I'm enjoying the new Modern Warfare, but it is so different as far as speed. I've been having a lot of fun getting pistols gold. Best chances to get active duty, do ROTC or switch from National Guard to active. Best chances to get ROTC, do National ROTC, get active ROTC or switch from National Guard to active. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Frankie. Modern Warfare is garbage. It's different. Like, it's just really different. Like, I'm not having, like, my kill death ratio in the new Call of Duty is not what it was in previous ones. Like, it's down by, it's about a 0.5 less than what it should be, in my opinion. Which is annoying. But whenever I literally just forget about my KD ratio and I just focus on just having fun, trying to win, using some different weapons, things like that, then I think it's fun. Anyways, I got a couple good topics from you guys. That is going to be it for this live stream. But made it about 45 minutes. I think I messed up with the title and all that stuff with all of my things, because things have changed. Things change on YouTube on the back end, which is really annoying. And I'm like, it's whatever. But anyway, so that's it for this live stream. Going to do another live stream if you guys seem like you want me to do another Call of Duty live stream sometime, so I might do that during the week this week, so stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the videos coming out. It's going to be basically different topics of what I just covered, so if you missed my biggest worries video about basic training, definitely check that one out. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a great one, and I will see y'all later.